This is Celtics Roundtable, part of the CLNS Media Network. Celtics fall to the Wizards 121-102. A terrible second half for the boys in green, getting outscored 26-0 and a huge run in the third quarter, fueled by the incredible John Wall and sloppy turnovers from the Celtics. With me to discuss what went wrong and how we can make it better for Game 5, we have David Davis, Matthew Ignal, and Evan Valenti. Evan, let's start with you. Why did it go so wrong so quickly?
Turnovers is the big thing because, they're so darn quick when they get out into the open floor. And you look at the way John Wall maneuvers people in transition. He's just unbelievable. And what's been the biggest thing, I think, the two games in Washington. Now, look, I thought Boston had figured out Washington already, and I'll be the first to apologize to Washington that they've had a counter here. They play the passing lanes unbelievably well. They have very active hands at the defensive end, and they turn you over so frequently when you make lazy passes that as soon as they get out into the break, you almost might as well just stay back on the offensive side of the floor because it almost translates into 2 points all the time. And the second chance opportunities that Washington got in that 26-0 run just kept burying Boston.
Yeah, let's focus in on that 26-0 run for the Wizards to basically put the game away. This is now 3 out of the 4 games, just like a massive run. I agree with you. Just offensive execution is the first thing that comes to mind. The Celtics did get a few open shots. They just happened to miss them all. But the turnovers are what really killed the Celtics. I mean, they still had 14 threes in this game, but 18 turnovers, which led to 26 fast break points for Washington. They got 7 shots right at the rim in that third quarter. I don't know why they're turning it over so much. I don't know why they seem to lose their poise so completely when Washington pressures them. But they're just very clearly they're not owning their space out on the perimeter. Washington's crowding them.
Yeah, Washington played great defense. I think the big thing was Isaiah just couldn't get to the rim in the second half, or the first half, actually. But he tried a couple times. Gortat took away the angle and didn't foul. Credit to Gortat because it seems like everyone fouls Isaiah when he drives, and Isaiah only had 1 field goal in the paint tonight. Did not get to the line.
Hey, David, in your mind, why did the Celtics fail to execute in that third quarter?
I'm not sure why. Like I was expecting these guys to, to play with purpose this game, but it just seems that like when they just let that run happen, like Brad called a timeout, it was an 8-0 run at first, then he called a timeout, and then after that, just the run just kept growing and growing. And it's like they just allowed it to happen. And I wasn't sure why, because it seemed like, I don't want to say it, but it just seemed like they gave up, man.
They got down on themselves.
Yeah, it was very strange. Like, I rarely see these guys play like that. And I was expecting, since they got blown out from Game 3, I was expecting them to, to at least play with some type of fight that they was down. This game, they just seemed like they didn't want to fight.
Washington ran them out of the gym tonight. I mean, you can't let John Wall have you backpedaling, because he's too good. He's too good around the rim. He'll dish it off. I mean, is he the second best player in the East?
He's probably outplayed Isaiah.
He's playing like it.
Yeah, I mean, his defense, I didn't think it was there for the first couple games, but he showed up on the defensive end. I mean, that fueled his offense because he missed his first 9 shots and couldn't get it going in the first, but he still made his mark on the game by playing good defense, stripping smart, stripping IT, and finishing on the other end.
Well, hold on. John Wall had 5 steals this game.
Oh, yeah, he had 5 steals also.
It seems like
12 assists. I mean, he didn't shoot the ball well, but he still made his impact. He had a ton of turnovers, but a lot of those were not like live ball. A lot of times it was, Marcus Smart would strip him or something, and the ball would go like out of bounds off Wall.
All right, listeners, the playoffs are here, and if you want to check out Game 5 of the playoffs, be sure to download the SeatGeek ticketing app. SeatGeek is the easiest way to buy and sell tickets to all Celtics games. With just 2 taps using SeatGeek's seamless mobile experience, you can download your tickets and go to Game 5. Please support this production and enter the code CELTSNEWS and get a $20 rebate off your first SeatGeek purchase. Download the SeatGeek app and enter the promo code CELTSNEWS today. Avery Bradley's he's had an inconsistent, rough series. He hurt his hip in Game 2. Is he injured?
Yeah, no, the tweets from Jay King that Avery Bradley's limping a bit with a wrap around his midsection in the locker room, but pretty much a nightmare game for Bradley on both ends, getting torched on one end. Actually, you know what? He did a good job on John Wall at the start of the game, I thought.
Just the volume. He wasn't on him enough.
Right, and 4 turnovers is not good for him, especially because he doesn't really rack up the assists.
Yeah, he's laboring a little bit right now, and it's kind of a bummer because you can definitely see it on the offensive end. His shot is the past 2 games has not been great. Offensively, you can tell right away if he's laboring a little bit. I think it's definitely starting to affect him, but it's not an excuse at this point. Everybody's kind of a little banged up at this point.
Well, right on cue, we're seeing a new tweet here from Jay King that Avery Bradley now has a hip pointer on his left hip, and he had a hip pointer on his right hip earlier in the series, so he can't catch a break.
Oh, man.
All good news.
I mean, I know, again, Washington's making it very tough for them to run anything right now, and Isaiah's been remarkably ineffective in terms of like facilitating an offense both games in Washington. I mean, he was great from 3-point range in the first quarter, first half, but then didn't take a 3, I think, after halftime, which is a little weird for him. So, I mean, But I agree with you. Al Horford, who's been terrific this playoffs, tonight just didn't really do it for me. I don't know. I felt like he was great in the first half and then disappeared in the second. I just felt like that third quarter, Boston got knocked out and couldn't recover.
What do we make of the fact that the 2 games in Boston were really close and the Celtics eked them out, and then the 2 games in Washington, the Wizards blew them out?
Home court advantage is big because Pat Riley always says the playoffs don't start until the home team loses a game. It's not encouraging though. I mean, I know it's a tie series, so it's a brand new thing, but Boston just can't afford to get down, and I'm not sure what else they can do because for me it's all Isaiah, and if Avery Bradley's hurt,
well, how about Terry Rozier?
I was about to talk about him too.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, plus 15 on a night where like the starters were like minus 20, minus 30. I don't know what more he has to do to get some actual decent minutes in this series. I mean, you look at the way the Wizards defended in the third quarter. I mean, how much could the Celtics have used a capable ball handler who plays with some energy and can defend his position? I mean, I don't understand why Terry Rozier didn't get minutes earlier. The Wizards were being really aggressive. I think the Celtics would want to respond by being able to space the floor a little bit more, helping out Isaiah. I mean, Terry Rozier should be getting more minutes. Am I crazy here?
No,
not at all. I think he had 16.7 rebounds. He a great rebounding guard. Also, he can help in that department. But I love this energy. Although it was pretty much at the end of the game, but throughout the whole series, he came up, making big shots. He played with energy. Also, Jaylen Brown, I don't know why they didn't play him. Jaylen Brown, also I feel like they should play Tyler Zeller more. They got guys, they just don't really play him. But continue what you were saying.
Well, I just thought that this small ball was the way the Celtics were going. I think it's the lineups that have worked best in the playoffs because we know teams guard Isaiah a little bit tighter and they put more bodies on him. He needs more outlets. Al Horford's one such option. But, Jay Crowder and Avery Bradley are shooters. At least Terry Rozier provides you a little bit of ball handling, a little bit of creation.
Did we see I didn't make note of it, so if I missed it, my fault. But did we see the Isaiah, Avery, Marcus, Jay, Rozier, those combination of those 4 guys, the Horford on the floor at the same time? I don't know if we ever saw that because that was the lineup that got everybody's talking after game 2 about how ingenious that was because there were 4 guards out there essentially with Al Horford to really space the floor. To your point, Matt.
I just thought Brad Stevens was just too late with it today. I just don't know what more these guys have to do to earn more minutes. It just seems like the antidote to what the Wizards are doing is that the Celtics need to go small.
Anybody really shocked?
The Wizards don't want to do that. Go ahead.
Anybody shocked about Amir starting today?
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Did it work? It seemed like the first half. I mean, they looked okay in the first half, and Amir looked okay. But the second half, he looked totally dead like the rest of the team did. So I'm not sure if it worked or it didn't work, or I don't know what happened, but it's definitely not what I expected to see.
I think it worked. I mean, I think the Celtics got the first quarter they wanted. They didn't get the third quarter they wanted, but I don't know how much that was on Amir. I mean, he scored the first 5 points in that third quarter before that 26-0 run. So, he might have been the best player for the Celtics in that third quarter stretch. I'd like to see Jaylen, but I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't think Brad Stevens trusts him enough. Maybe Rozier is the answer.
Obviously, no. The answer is obviously back to Gerald Green, right? He goes big, small, big, small. Run it back until it maybe works one time, and then he's a genius again.
What about Jerebko?
That's what I thought would happen. I thought it'd be Jerebko.
He's just not good enough.
I thought Isaiah was pretty terrible. He didn't handle the pressure well. 6 turnovers for him is really uncharacteristic. You got to credit Washington. Like, John, you mentioned it, Gortat, his rim protection over these past 2 games has been pretty stellar. The Wizards switching schemes, their trapping's been effective. They've been able to leverage their athleticism to make the correct rotations. Again, my solution, I think, is to go smaller. I think it's what's worked.
Yeah, that's true.
In order to do that, though, you have to be like super crisp defensively on the other end. Because, I mean, if you're playing really small and they have like Keith in there and they keep going, I mean, that's kind of what you want, right? You want more touches and more shots from Markieff Morris and less for John Wall and less for Brad Beal. I guess that works. You know, you just got to hope that defensively you're crisp and you communicate well and you switch and you're able to, still stay on guys because, you can get buried early doing that too. So it's kind of to change things up is a good thing. But I mean, sometimes that could really come back and bite you. It's got to be, it's got to be done well. Those guys got to play sound defense.
Well, I think it starts more on the offensive end. I think if you limit turnovers, then you limit the Wizards getting their easiest looks. I mean, in the half court, they're potent, but they're not devastating like they are in transition. I don't know.
I don't think there's too much of a difference there because we've seen them in the half court destroy Boston too. It's not like they don't do that.
Well, they really picked on Isaiah once again.
Yeah, Beal had a couple possessions where he got, Al Horford comes over to help and is trying to. And there was one play that sticks out in particular where, Beal caught it left side, inside 3-point line near the left wing and backing down Isaiah. Horford kind of cheats over, so Beal gets it back to Gortat, top of the key, forces Al back, and then Beal gets a little bit deeper towards the baseline, catches it a little bit deeper, and Al's just too late on the help. He does a little baseline fadeaway and buried it. It was like, man.
I mean, this couldn't have gone worse, right?
Everyone stayed healthy. Oh, no, Bradley got hurt. No, couldn't have gone worse.
They lost both games in blowout fashion, and here we are scratching our heads. What the hell does Boston do? I mean, they have their health. I guess that's a good thing, but, I mean, it's as bad as it gets. My question is, what did Boston do well that would make you say, okay, that's what we're going to have to do more of next game? Like,
all right, the energy was great in the first quarter. Even when Washington scored, they really had to work for it. The offensive rebounding kind of killed them. And Otto Porter's hot shooting. But, not turning the ball over is the big thing for me. I know it's easier said than done, but if they can avoid turnovers, you'll avoid John Wall getting out in transition. Playing with more purpose. The Celtics were floating a lot of passes, and I think it was frustration from Isaiah not being able to create. And the way to get Isaiah moving is stronger screens. I saw Washington set the stronger screens on the night. Markieff Morris, Marcin Gortat, they set these huge screens where the Celtic defender either had to fight and go under or just couldn't get around that led to some open shots.
Well, Gortat's probably maybe the best screener in the NBA, but I think Al Horford's up there too. What about having Isaiah Thomas? And again, we saw this a little bit when they brought Rozier in the third quarter, but having Isaiah Thomas play a little bit more off ball.
That's where I'm at. I thought about that earlier. Make him an off ball guard. And try and run it, because Keith Smith mentioned this, Matt, in your preview of this game that you guys released a couple of days ago, and I was like, yeah, I can see where that's at. I kind of agree with that because I think if you turn Isaiah into an off-ball guard, you can run him around a bunch of different screens and have John Wall fight through a bunch of them and just beat him up on that side of the floor. Basically, what they do to Isaiah all the time. Let's try and treat John Wall the same way here.
Right, and I think that ties in with the Rozier thing. That's much easier to do when Terry Rozier's in the game. But yeah, you gotta make Wall work a little bit more. You can't just run pick and rolls because they're just gonna be really physical with them. I don't know if they're gonna be able to get away with it in Boston. Now I'm convinced they'll show some fight in Game 5. I don't expect this team to just lay down and die like they seem to in that third quarter.
Hopefully not, because, man, that happens, man. I don't know what to say then.
I mean, this Wizards team isn't good defensively. They were 20th on the year. And, yeah, maybe they have the athleticism to get a little bit better in the playoffs, John Wall in particular. But there should be counters for that. There should be counters for what the Wizards are doing. We saw the Celtics do it a little bit with all those backdoor cuts that allowed them to get easy shots at the rim. That was fine. They got enough of those. I don't know if you can say like, oh, go get 20 more points that way. But I think if you throw in a little bit more unpredictability, the Wizards are going to struggle in those situations. They're not equipped to handle that.
All right, that'll do it for us here at Celtics Roundtable. We'll be back tomorrow discussing what the Celtics can do to bounce back and regain control of the series on their home floor Wednesday night. I'm Jonathan Ignal signing off. We'll bounce back, Celtics fans, and with a vengeance. Take that part out.